Hello, everybody. I am Captain Jim Palmer, the Dream Business Coach. I'm the founder of the Dream Business Mastermind and Coaching Program, creator of No Hassle Newsletters, author of these 6 books that I'm going to tell you how you can get for free. I'll tell you that at the very end of the show. Today, I am the host of Dream Business Radio, now in its 10th year. This is episode 548. My very special guest today is Roland Gibb Stewart. Gibb, how are you doing today?
Doing great. And you, Jim?
Very excited to be talking with you. And
Good.
I know you're going to inspire a lot of people. Hey, folks, this episode of Dream Business Radio is brought to you by the Dream Business Mastermind and Coaching Program. If you're an entrepreneur or small business owner who wants to grow a more profitable business faster, and especially if you're interested in creating multiple streams of revenue, then you want to be part of this extraordinary virtual mastermind group led by me, Captain Jim Palmer, the Dream Business Coach. Learn more at dreambizcoaching.com. dreambizcoaching.com. By the way, my latest ebook, which actually launched Monday, I think, just a couple of days ago, How Being an Author is an Entrepreneur's Success Advantage. In it, I detail my journey from writing my first book all the way up till, 6 books like this, and then about 10 or so ebooks. But how each one of those books, I had a formula and a plan and a timetable, and how it's helped me grow my business. And much to my surprise, I enjoy it so much and wanted to help more people do it. I started a company called Success Advantage Publishing, hence the name. So you can get a free copy of this ebook at getyourbookpublishedfast.com. Getyourbookpublishedfast.com. All right, let me introduce Gibb, and we will bring him right on. Well, he's actually on, but we're going to engage in some great conversation. So Roland Gibb Stewart, hence why I call him Gibb, grew up in an apartment complex in Portland, Oregon, Mountain View, California, and Santa Monica. He then served in the Army, and after that, he was searching to find stable employment. In 1977, he and his then wife risked their entire savings of $10,000 in loans from friends, totaling more than $18,000 to invest in real estate. He retired from state government at the age of 50, got bored, and then started developing a dental medical office building. By 2017, they had assets of $30 million and were managing assets of over $70 million. Gibb is now 76. I know he looks about 66, and has started 4 new initiatives. So clearly retirement is not in his wheelhouse. He is the author of the recently released book, Learn, Apply, and Grow Rich, available on Amazon. Once again, Gibb, welcome to Dream Business Radio.
Thank you, Jim. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so we met, it's about a month ago, I guess. That's how far ahead we're booked. And I was so inspired and just enlightened with your amazing entrepreneurial journey. I think the piece that I read which caused us to connect with you, either own or co-own, was it 11 businesses or 21? I forget.
Yeah.
11 businesses. So a lot of the reason that people listen to the show for so long is they love the strategies and the things we can teach them from, marketing, business growth, leverage, things like that. But they also love to be inspired. And I said, man, I've got to get you on my program. So give us a little bit of the backstory. We're not going to go back to kindergarten, but I know after the Army and then you got into real estate. How did it snowball into so many different businesses?
Well, they just come in. It's like you're managing an apartment complex, and other people want us to manage their apartment complex, and now these residential people want us to manage their property. So it kind of grows, and then you form an LLC that starts developing office buildings, and then that grows because every office building makes more contacts and gives you another reference to someone else, and it continues to grow.
So was the first real estate that I said you invested in 18, was that an apartment building?
14 units, 10
Wow.
1 bedrooms, two bedrooms, and 2 3 bedrooms. What a mix.
And how did people find out? Were their neighbors find you ran a great apartment? They said, hey, would you run ours too? How did that happen?
I think so. I think it's just somebody drive by and pull up and say, you look like you're full. Well, that's the object, isn't it? Let's make the cash flow. And they said, yeah, but we got 4 vacancies and we're only a 10 unit. Can you take care of that? Well, I says, I can lease with, well, I was probably 20 years into the program where I said I could lease better than almost anybody. So
Wow.
that was what really drove it. Is that I mean, sometimes leasing is a matter of giving the apartment away, right? What's your bottom line? What are the other units paying? And here's what I need out of this apartment in order to survive. I mean, in 1980, what were you going to do?
1980. That's the year I got married. That's what, so 43 years ago. Then that's when you were. That's when you were doing that.
Right.
So I was reading in my research for the interview and reading part of your book. You describe yourself as a reasonable Army officer. What does that mean, and how much of your Army training helped you become a better entrepreneur?
Well, every time I got in trouble in the Army, after I got out of officer candidate school, I became an officer. So every time I got in trouble when I was in the Army, I ended up winning. Okay, once my punishment was to take a platoon of enlisted folks to a dance in downtown Hopkinsville, and nobody showed up. So I reported to the person that was overseeing me doing this project, and I ended up with going to, I think, probably 8 professional basketball games because he gave me the general's tickets when the general wasn't using them.
Wow.
So, I had that happen like 3 or 4 times. So I was a reasonable officer, but I didn't like carrying the handgun. No thanks. So I'd have officer of the day duty, and I'd stick it in the drawer, and then I'd be so anxious to get home that I'd forget to turn it into the armory. That got me a couple times.
I feel like I'm going to bounce around a little bit because you've
Sure.
got such a long and storied career. So I mentioned that you own all or part of 11 different companies, or started them, purchased them. Tell us a little did you have companies all over the place? Did you like service-based companies?
No,
Was it mostly real estate? What's
no.
that look like?
It's all. I would say 50% of that's real estate. Some of it has to do with the development company, right? We put a development company together to develop all we went from small residential to gigantic commercial. Well, gigantic, you got to take in the grain of salt.
Yeah.
I thought it was a big deal. Everybody I knew thought it was a big deal. It's 105,000 square feet, 5 buildings, the whole ball of wax. And then one day we were talking about it, and on the radio they said, "Well, that's 1 floor in the building that got knocked down." Which one was it? In New York City. It's not the Empire
Towers?
State one. The towers.
Okay.
That was 1 floor in the towers, 105,000 square feet.
Oh my goodness.
It's a different world.
So did you purchase? Did you just keep purchasing with your cash flow? Did you start new businesses? What was your preference?
Oh yeah. We just okay. Grace had grown up on a farm, and she knew how to save like nobody else does. And I was used to spending everything I got, and she said, "No, if you do this, you're going to be able to get ahead." Oh, really? Okay. I took economics at the university, and that never came up. It was like, what the heck are you talking about here? So at any rate, so we started, and then we ended up with enough money to go into the stock market. We lost every single penny.
Oh my goodness.
And I said, nope, that just isn't going to be the way we're doing it. So the next time we had accumulated $10,000, and then you look back when you got married, $10,000 was a heck of a lot of money.
It sure was.
Okay, so every time we got 10,000, we tried something. So the next one was buying the apartment complex because enough people trusted us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still fascinated. We had 5 people. They put in anywhere from $3,000 to $7,500. Friends, grandparents, and none of them were related to me. Well, I had one of the sister-in-laws gave us her college money for a year while she was saving for the second year. So That's what started us, is so many people trusting us. And that's what ended us.
So many
So,
people trusted you.
and real estate. Yeah. Yeah.
What was it like going through, 2008 and, that whole real estate bubble? Did you get crushed, or how did you do there?
Well, well, we were operating so conservatively that we had good reserves. We still had good reserves today. I'm amazed at how much Grace can accumulate out of
Mhm.
a building. She runs all the books. I I get the annual
You
report.
make the money, she saves the money, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's the way it's always been. Exactly.
And so we're real estate, apartment buildings. Was there anything outside of real estate?
Not in the early days, I think. We hit $1 million just before I turned 50. Um, we probably had 5 or 6 properties, something like that. We had the management company, we had the holding company, so there's 3, right?
Mhm.
And so then I retired. I worked 7 years full time, then I worked 14 and a half half time. That's the other way around. I worked 14 and a half full time, and then business got busy enough that I was offered a half-time job, and I took it. And so I was able to do that. And then when I hit 50, we sold one of the nicer houses, and that was going to carry me. I didn't have to make a cent for 5 years uh, because of the sale, free and
Mhm.
clear, a real nice property. And so that paid for that. And then we started actually doing things.
I think when we first met, you said I retired at 50, and I think it lasted a couple months or maybe a year or two, and then you went back into it. Like, you just like sitting still, or
Oh, yeah. I've tried retiring twice.
yeah.
Neither time worked. This is too much fun. Really,
And you're
seriously.
you're
I'm
76, right? And
76 and I'm
and
having a
did
ball, and I want 20 more years for sure.
and didn't I read did you start 2 partnerships this year?
This year. Okay, so this is really phenomenal. Okay, so I've been waiting a couple of years. The manager of my heating and ventilation company, okay, keeps talking about this friend of his who's brilliant and who drove a company from 3 million to 30 million over 6 years. Okay, uh, and so I finally met him the other day, and that afternoon we bought a company for him to manage. So that takes
Hmm.
care of that one. The other one, a new guy moved in to the condo community I live in, Palm Springs, and of course I met him within a couple of days, and he and I sat down and we kept talking and talking, and the traffic was going to be backing up on the way into LA, and I said, "You need to leave." Then we talk another 20 minutes.
Oh,
He says,
jeez.
"You got to get out of here." Anyway, so he's developing a website a month, and pushing it out there to see how that's going to work, because it's the flip side of the sites that list things that you want to buy. It's the
Yes.
flip side. It's things that you want to sell.
What, like
So
like Facebook Marketplace or
yeah,
eBay
yeah,
or
all that stuff. It's the other side of it.
okay.
So I think we're really happy, and it's probably coming out next week, and I think we'll be at 8 to 20,000 within a month. So
And you're partners in that one?
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So do you want to break any news? Like, what's the name of it, and when will it go live?
I think it's going to go live in 2 weeks. I
Okay.
had the name around here somewhere, but I bet I can't find it.
What's the hook? What makes it different? You're piquing my curiosity. What makes it different than like an eBay or Facebook Marketplace?
Because they're having things that you want to buy.
Okay.
You put your thing on our list because you want to sell.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Gotcha.
so eBay's out there and Amazon's out there, but do you want a used set of barbell equipment? Okay, you have one to sell. Put it here, and you might come over here and look.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
it's not new stuff. You're not going to buy any new stuff off of our site.
Right.
It'll all be old stuff.
Okay.
We're pleased. I think we probably have 300 listings already of things people are willing to sell or want to sell.
So with everything that you've done in your so far 76 years, I mean, there's so many things that I want to ask you for the listeners. Two of them come to mind. You know, one of the things that I think is lacking, or one of the elements that new entrepreneurs lack, is courage. They're probably dealing with a lot of self-doubt. Did you ever deal with that, or are you just like, no, this is going to work great, let's go? Did you
Well,
just
our position was Grace had received about February of the year 77, had got a tremendous promotion, and her pay went up 4 times because she got her college degree in um, late November of the year before, so that had been 76. Then in 77, she got this happening and made all the money, and then this isn't going to work out right, Jim. It must have been 75, 76, 77. And then when we got to April of 77, we realized, no, we're 78, we're realizing that we're going to have to pay the federal government $10,000
wow.
in employment tax, right? That we hadn't counted on as we were going through this. And so we looked at each other and said, do you want to give the $10,000 away, or would you rather try something with it? So in those days, there was accelerated depreciation. We bought a park home. We didn't pay taxes for 15 years.
Goodness. Wow, I'm not sure you should put that out there. I'm sure it's all legitimate.
It's in there. I wrote it up. It's in the book.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your book. So you wrote it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Every time we bought a property, we just depreciated it out, covered our income. Maybe that shows how little money we made.
So I'm going to ask a question. Somebody's going to go, Jim, don't be such a smartass. But so was Grace the brains behind the way to make money and save money, and you're out there charging ahead, or because it seems like you guys complement each other really well?
We did very, very well. She drove the savings. She told me what I could do and what I couldn't do, and then every time we saved a little bit, I went out and I got something, so we were back in debt again, and she started saving. That's the way we did it. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
So you mentioned your book. You recently published a book called Learn, Apply, and Grow Rich. Interesting title. Was it sort of a play on Think and Grow Rich, or one of the? Well, let me ask you that question first. Or did you have another?
Okay, so Think and Grow Rich is the grandfather,
right?
And everyone should read it once or twice. It sure inspired me. But think, for us, we were 2 dumb kids, right? So you got to think, and you got to figure this out. How are you going to get started? And then you apply it. And then if you just stick with your game plan, eventually you're going to grow rich.
Interesting. So, I heard, Dan Kennedy's a mentor of mine and a couple others. And I think it was Dan who said, Think and Grow Rich. It's not the best title in the world, because you really have to do more than think, right? So, I mean, I like the name of your book, Learn, Apply. So, learning for the sake of, that's another expression today amongst entrepreneurs is, I'm a lifelong learner. Well, that's nice, but are you going to implement as well? Maybe that goes hand in hand, but for some people, they just fall back on, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I got to read another book. I want to buy this course. But, but it really is through courageous, bold action and implementation that you actually grow a business.
Well, last year I decided I was going to try 4 approaches at the internet. So I bought some ad arbitrage sites, some selling sites, some buying. So I tried 4 different ones. One just failed, but we're going to be able to recover virtually all of our money from the sale of the name of the website, right? So that how you come out of it's the way it makes things work. The ad arbitrage, they're paying for themselves every 18 months. So I got my money back pretty quickly on that. Opened an Amazon store and an eBay store, and they're crippled. So I'm trying to find somebody to manage them because I'm not going to manage them. I don't have time to do anything.
In your book, and I think the early pages of your book, you write about grow, grow, grow. And I'm pretty sure you're writing about the early apartment days because you said take a chance and then the first move outs and a way out of hell. What was that about?
Grow, grow, grow.
Yeah.
Is what Grace told a financial planner when he asked her what our concept was. So they came to me and took me to lunch, and they said, "We're not going to tell you what Grace said until we find out what you're saying." I said, "Seize every opportunity you can when you see it. Targets of opportunity are my game plan." And they said, "Well, those two kind of match." So that's where the two of those things came from.
Okay. So seize opportunity. My sixth book called Decide, it's over there somewhere. I wrote the whole book. It's entrepreneurial mindset, etc. And then I named that at the end. It's the only book I did that. And I was back in the day when I wrote that, I was doing a bunch of interviews on podcasts. And somebody said, Jim, what's the one word that you think separates very successful entrepreneurs from ordinary entrepreneurs? And I said, decide. What do you mean? Well, they see an opportunity and they decide yes or no. Anyone's okay, but maybe is not. Maybe sends you to a place I call Squishyville, where opportunity goes to die. But it is about being decisive, right? So that's what you mean. Seize the opportunity, correct?
Correct. Okay. I do not quote my father very often.
Okay.
But the one quote I do use is decide to decide. You have to decide you're going to make this decision. Same idea. You and I are there.
So in the book, you also wrote about the Cotton Gibson building. Is that an apartment building or was that the medical building? I think
that's the first medical dental building that we put together.
How did that come about?
Well, I retired, right?
Right.
And about 3 months later, I took my good friend who I used to swim with all the time, took him to lunch. And we're sitting there at lunch, and he says, "You're retired. You've been in real estate 15 years now. And would you help me find a place to go put my dental office?" And I said, "Sure." So I looked for about 6 months. And in those days, people wouldn't take dental offices in regular office buildings because of the smells that they used to emit.
Oh, is that right?
That's different now, right?
Okay.
That's gone by the wayside. But back then, that was just, oh, you're representing a dentist? Oh, no, we don't want him. Okay. So he was going home one night, saw a vacant lot. We bought the lot from a major retailer in town. And then we went out and interviewed developers, and we drove back to his office after we visited the third one. He said, "You're going to do this." I said, "Me? Who, me?" So we developed a backup plan, who we were going to hire if I failed.
Okay.
And the building was a home run. I mean, it's an incredible. It's a cash cow. Let me tell you.
You acted as a general contractor, and you had no experience doing that?
Correct.
Wow. So courage. So let's just say you weren't lacking in courage, decisiveness, or courage.
Well, there were times when I was really dumb and it worked out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So once you decide what you're going to do, you have to focus on it. And let's walk down. We're now on a street. I mean, we're not out in the field, man. We're on a street, and we need to focus, and we need to learn from everybody around us how we're going to go down this road and get to the end of it.
Very interesting. We got about 5 minutes left. I want to ask you about it. The final chapter of your book is things that you hope people will learn from reading it. Know yourself and what you're willing to do. Is that like a self-appraisal, I'm guessing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why is that important?
Well, because there's going to be times when you have a 10-unit apartment complex and you have 5 vacancies. What are you going to do? Are you just going to let it go back? I've had any number of people I talked to that just let them went back. It was 1980. What are we going to do? Just give it back to the bank. No, 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 no. If you're going somewhere, you're going somewhere. I mean, I stood on street corners with balloons, helium balloons in my hand before it was popular. Okay, who's this idiot? Oh, well, let's see what's he got. Hey, come on in. You want an apartment for free? Well, I can arrange. You can get this one, which usually is that price, and I can give it to you for $20 a month. You know, right? let's pay the bank.
Wow. Interesting.
I think that's a matter of flexibility. Okay.
Yes.
I
and playing the long game.
I knew what my net was, right?
Yeah.
And this was this 14-unit apartment complex is my retirement program in case I don't make it with the state of Oregon. This is my apartment complex. It's my retirement. I'm keeping it.
Wow. What about walk away from downers and naysayers?
Oh, you have to associate with people that pump you up, make you stronger. You can't have somebody in your back pocket saying, "Oh, you can't do this. You can't do this." Hell no, yes I can, but that way I don't have to overcome that. I listen to these people that are in front of me.
Yeah, some people I talk to, they repel naysayers and doomsayers, etc. Other people feed off it. It's like the energy. Well, if you say I can't, then I'm going to prove you wrong. Which
Right.
I guess those two. The first 10,000 is the hardest. Was that your getting into the apartment building, or?
It was the way we went into the stock market. It's the way we came back and went into the apartment complex. We accumulated another 10,000. We bought a few homes, and on and on. Just 10,000. It's tough to save $10,000. Everybody wants your money.
Yeah.
Every time you open the mail, you get 3 offers to spend your money.
So I'm going to assume you've had a few, but how do people learn from failures? If you do as many things as you've done and as I've done, there's going to be failures along the way. How did you learn to, bounce back from that?
Well, I think I learned a lot from it, for one thing. I mean, my first failure was the month after COVID hit the United States. I had a small newspaper, not educational and entertaining, and I had spent like 15 months growing it to the point where it was going to be the first profitable month. And
Wow.
March of 2020, March of 2020, in April of 2020, about 70% of my advertisers left.
Wow. There went that, huh?
We lost the business.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of mentally recovering from that. And then I was diagnosed with lung cancer. And I forgot about my failure.
Yeah.
It made it easy, right? So then you come out. So that was late May of 20. So March, COVID hit. April, things were getting worse. May, I lost, like I say, 60, 70% of my advertisers. And May 16th, I'm in the hospital of 2020, and they told me I had 6 months to live. That just kind of makes your focus go someplace.
Exactly. Wow. Well, I guess that prediction was wrong as well.
Right. So I'm pleased.
Thankfully.
I want
Yes.
20 more.
Yeah. So final question, then you can give your contact information. What do you say to the entrepreneurs who are new, sitting on the sidelines, waiting for all the stars to line up, all the green lights to show, waiting for everything to be perfect? What do you say to inspire them?
What you have to do is you have to dissect what you're looking for, which ought to take you about 20 seconds, right? And then you go for the part that's accessible right now. Okay, so I have one of my daughters who wants to be a house flipper, right? So, and she's waiting for the crash, which I'm sure is going to come. But so why don't you focus now on developing an internet business that has some potential because you're good at the computer. So she's doing that, and she's waiting for the other. And we when we go out to lunch, we talk about how her building the site is going, and she's already got like 2,500 monthly visitors. So she's in good shape. That's growing. That may end up being bigger than flipping houses.
Interesting. How can people connect with you, and where do you want them to get a copy of your book? Amazon or your website or?
Amazon.com. Learn, apply, and grow rich. Okay. And my email address is continueforward@live.com.
Can you say it one more time? Yep.
Continueforward@live.com.
Awesome. Gib Stewart, man, thank you so much. It was a real pleasure having you on my program.
Thank you, Jim.
Hey, folks, that wraps up this very special interview with Gib Stewart. A lot of things. I would suggest listening to this one a second time. You can connect with me, by the way, if this is the only place we're doing it, at getjimpalmer.com. It's my home base, getjimpalmer.com. Again, if you're interested in joining about 27 other smart entrepreneurs in the Dream Business Mastermind, go to dreambizcoaching.com. Remember to get a free copy of my brand new ebook, which is How Being an Author is Your Success Advantage. Get your free copy at getyourbookpublished.com. I also told you how you could get a free copy of these 6 books. So we're actually, it's 2 years. I started in May 2 years ago, part of my legacy building program. I made all the digital copies of my books free at Amazon, free at Barnes & Noble as Nook Books, and they're also in the iBook store. Absolutely free. Get a good education on me. But that's it. Until this time next week, another fantastic interview. I am Captain Jim Palmer, the Dream Business Coach, and you take good care.